up high, so good gas consumption there. All right, so we reached that flashover stage. Now, let's take a look at our smoke. Let's see how much our smoke has changed. We're gonna close the door. Look at how you're under pressure now. You close the door, you're under pressure. Look at the difference, and look at where you can ignite now. So you can ignite even farther away, and we know that that fire had that ignitable mixture as far as the smoke. You can see how turbulent that smoke was for it having an ignitable mixture. So we'll let it heat back up. And still, we still haven't got that rapid backdraft. We haven't had that backdraft just blowing out of there. And the reason we haven't had that is because the gases are not hot enough yet for us to get that massive backdraft coming out of there. So, how much faster this time did we get the flashover compared to earlier? You can see how them gases are trapped. You can see how much faster we got to that area as far as the flashover. A lot of different studies out there. You know, they talk about anywhere between 30 to 90 seconds. A lot of variables there also, but anywhere between 30 to 90 seconds once we open the door, we got to be ready to go in and get the fire. So that's why it's so important that we keep that door closed until we're ready. So what we're going to do now is we pulled up on the scene where the engine company, the door is closed, and now we open the door. We open that door, and now we're getting our hose lines off the engine. We're getting everything set up. We're getting everything to that door. And you can see how turbulent the smoke is. So we'd have to understand how important it's going to be that we cool the fire gases before we make entry. Because as we know, the fire, once we took the oxygen away, what did it need? We know that it needed that oxygen. So we got to cool them fire gases, because you can see it coming in, you can see them gases sucking in, and you can see how our floor has flashed over. Now you can see everything taking place there. You got that smoldering fire in the backside, maybe it's in the backside of the roof. So you can still see everything that's taking place. And look at how you're getting them gases trapped up underneath the overhang. And then look at how fast them gases are traveling that are coming out. So just by looking at it and looking at your smoke, volume, velocity, density, and color, you can look and you can see where you have an ignitable mixture. So if you're the pipeman, if you're the firefighter, you need to cool them gases that you see very turbulent. That way, it's your safety. We're going to hold that fire in check. So that's a good example of showing that time that we have to get our engine company ready, make sure our lines are ready before we're opening that door. The fire behavior curve: ignition, growth, fully developed, decay. All right, that's the fire behavior curve. But we as firefighters, we have to understand that fire behavior curve, that's more for a campfire outside. So let's look at the fire behavior curve here. I'm going to close the door. We're talking about the fire behavior curve. So look at your smoke, look at how turbulent it is. So ignition, we should be going back to the ignition phase of the fire. But as you can see with this environment we have here, that's not going to be the ignition phase because of how fast that smoke's traveling, how fast the gases are traveling. We know we have the potential for these gases to ignite because of the air that's coming into this structure. We can see that taking place right now. So with my propane torch, I can come up. I'll tell you what, before I do that, I'm going to add some more wood to it. Add a couple more pieces. Because we're not getting that rapid backdraft yet, and the reason we're not is because the gases are not hot enough at this present time. We'll come up. Great smoke behavior training. Awesome smoke behavior training. And just by looking at it, you know that we have that ignitable mixture there just by looking at that smoke and how turbulent that smoke was. So important for us as firefighters for us to pull the gases, pull the smoke. So what we'll do now is we'll look at it. We're the first arriving engine company. We arrive on scene. We're going to have one firefighter. He's going to have the door. All right, so that's going to be his job. We have the other firefighter. And of course, what's first? Life safety's first, correct? We're going to crack that door. We're going to look down a little, see if there's a victim there because we know a majority of our victims are where? By the door. So once we're ready, we want to make sure that we have our hose line ready. So this will be our hose line. We got that door closed. We open it. We cool them gases. We cool. We cool them. And then what we can do is not cool it. Let's see how we change if we don't cool it. So we show the importance of cooling them gases, the difference that it makes as far as cooling the gases to make sure it doesn't ignite. Now, let's do the same thing without cooling the gases. So this time we won't cool the gases. We'll go ahead and close the door. We'll take the oxygen away, but we're not going to cool the fire gases this time. So here we go. And look how much faster we're getting the flashover too. That's one of the key things. Because keep in mind, when we first started, our floor was clean. Everything was good. It took me a long time to hold it there. So now this time, we're not going to cool the fire gases, okay? We're just going to open the door. Turbulent smoke. Great example is the flow path inside the building. You can see what's taking place there. But we didn't cool them fire gases. And you can see how turbulent the smoke's getting. How much faster it's getting. You can see the velocity of the smoke. You got them hot gases trapped, and you can see that air sucking in. So what's going to take place here, if we keep it open long enough, that air is going to suck in, that fire is going to ignite, and that's why it's so important that we want to make sure that we're ready as the firefighter. But we still haven't got that rapid backdraft taking place by closing that door and having it come out. So there you go, we ignite it. So keep in mind, for us to get that backdraft, 14% oxygen, that's going to be one of the key things. You know, when we get that fire down to 14% oxygen. Normal air we breathe, like remember, is 21%. So we take that oxygen away, we know that we're going to be at that about 14% for us to get that backdraft and put that fire out. So we're going to let it heat up, because for us to get a good backdraft, we have to have that fire extremely hot. So you can see the air still, you can still see that air sucking in, going back to that original fire. So we'll let it heat up and we'll get that good backdraft. Any questions so far? All right. Let's see if we can get backdraft. Close the door. Take the oxygen away. See the air sucking in? But we still haven't got that massive backdraft. We haven't got it because the gas is not hot enough yet. We're going to take our propane torch, and you can see how much farther away we're burning now. Remember the flammable limits, all them different things that we learn about in the book, we're able to learn them right here instead of reading it in the book. So we're able to do that interactive training. Feel that radiant heat too. You know, that's one of the other things. And that's when I can tell that we're going to get that backdraft, is by feeling that radiant heat coming out. But now, once we heat it up and I remove the door, really look at the color of the smoke. Because, I mean, it's drastically changed because of how we're trapping them gases. I mean, it's drastically changed as far as the color of the smoke. So, we'll come in, we'll close it, and look at your smoke now. All right? Look at how turbulent that smoke is. So you heard it burning up high, and then it sucked back in really fast. It sucked back in really fast. But now we're getting hotter and hotter. So now what we'll be able to do, now we'll be able to get that massive backdraft taking place because of the gases. We got the gases hot enough. So pretty much as soon as I remove this door, we should be able to get that backdraft now. So here we go. Come up under pressure. You can see where we're under pressure. Turbulent smoke, and there it is. All right, and that whole turbulent smoke is something that we want to recognize, that if we open that